Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. PSR is excited to present to you Last Call, featuring your boy, the pimp slap P.O.D., Mike M.
Pimpin' ain't easy, but it's fun like money. Got bookies on the run, now it's time to get money. Not your typical way to ball. It's last call like some convicts waiting on the next draw. You can feel the tension. Did I mention? Fools better pay attention, cause we getting paid like a pension. T's on the ones and twos, we not the ones that lose. Mike Money's killers might even make the evening news.
And now, let's get to the picks.
We be pumping! Buzz Sports Radio, you know we be pumping!
What up? What up? Welcome in. It's Last Call. Here we go. Wednesday, March the 6th, and 6 p.m. Pub Sports Radio. You already know we're going to get after it tonight. It's going to be a nice card here. Small little NHL, little boutique NHL action tonight. We've got the trade deadline just 2 days away, but don't tell the NHL clubs that. Trades are flying around today. Going to be exciting to see how this new NHL looks here in a couple more days. We've got college basketball. The tournament's rolling. Going to be fun to get after it again. And we've got some more conference tournament games here. It's March. Why wouldn't we dig in and try to get these opportunities when they are sitting there right in front of us? And the NBA is going to be firing tonight. I'll tell you what, I'm fired up. We're opening up tonight in the NBA. The account is plush, and we are ready to crack some skulls here tonight in the NBA. I can't wait to share the card with you guys. We've got a player prop parlay out there. We've got a parlay in the NHL as well. We're going for bear tonight. We're all loaded up and we're ready to eat. So it's going to be a ton of fun. Appreciate everybody dropping in here. You already know the deal here. You're just getting out of work, trying to figure out what you're going to do for dinner, trying to figure out what you're going to have for a cocktail. Let us help you figure out what you're going to put your money on tonight. That's what Last Call is all about here. And we ask you to do 3 things. That's it. 3 simple little items. Hit that thumbs up button. Help us crack the code. Show the support. If you like the content you're seeing here with Pub Sports Radio, all we ask you to do is smash that thumbs up button. Cost you nothing. Means a ton to us, helping us grow the community here with Pub Sports Radio. 2, grab a pen and paper, not just for the information I share down, but the chat is sharper and sharper every single day. You're going to want to write down what these boys and girls share out there in the chat to get you guys paid all day and all night. We've got late night action tonight. Hawaii's going out there with Northridge on the island at midnight tonight Eastern. So it's going to be a long card today. And then, of course, you know, we want you guys to share your plays in the chat. Love to recognize what you guys are working on as well. We've had all day to sit with these games. Now we want to see what this hard work has done for us. How are we getting paid tonight? You know, there's a lot of them trying to do what we're doing out here, but nobody does it collectively like this group at Pub Sports Radio. We use angles, unique trends. We've got line movement. We correlate the cash flow movement against Vegas moves on the lines. We look at the injury reports. We use the chat. Everyone's working together with one common goal. Let's get that cash out of them bookies' pockets and get it back into our own. I wish we had a better night last night. We will start and be 100%. Transparency is paramount to what we do here. But, you know, shout out to our guy, Billy Briz. He had a monster last night. And what's going on here in Pub Sports tonight after Last Call, you're going to want to tune in. We've got all about the hoops. And we got some new hosts tonight. A little turnover here with some things going on. Schedules change. So is life. But Billy Briz and I are going to come back and we're going to kick off all about the hoops tonight. And there's going to be a little hockey edition in there as well. Nobody says we can't bet hockey on a Wednesday. Come on, that's our best sport. Even though there's only 3 games tonight, we're going to find a way to get that cash. So very excited about the Wednesday lineup here with Pub Sports Radio. Shout out to my homie T on the 1s and 2s. Keeps it tight and right, making sure that everything runs like a well-oiled machine. That's what he does out there. Best in the damn business. Let's roll on here tonight. Appreciate everybody dropping in early here. We're trying to get a good show in us. We want to keep moving. We want to give you guys time to get these bets placed, get everything freshened up, and then roll back through because we're going to have some fun tonight, some cocktails, some live bets. We're going to do some sweating together here collectively, but excited about what we have in store tonight. So, you know, when Billy Briz gets on there for all about the hoops, you're going to want to take a note of what he's got going on in action. Again, he fired last night, and no reason that he doesn't do it again tonight. He talked bounce back. He gave you a bounce back. And now he's bouncing on his way through the hardwood tonight to get that cash. So going to be a great night here. Shout out to everybody in the chat coming in early, ready to roll. And there's my homie Joe T in the house Says, hey, Mike M, what's up? Let's get that cash's best bet tonight. He's going to that SEC showdown. That's going to be a great game here. Number 1 seed in the SEC is on deck, and Joe T's going after it there. He likes the over 141 in that Tennessee-South Carolina game. Shout out to our guy. Says it's going up. He still likes it. He got it at 139.5, and that is going to be a game of pace. Tennessee runs a vigorous pace up and down the court, and they're effective at shooting as well. So that couples together for a great look to the over. Appreciate you sharing that, Joe T. There's my guy, Futon Betts in the house. He says he likes Seton Hall on the first half money line for our guy over there, the Futon Betts. Interesting spot there. We've seen a ton of movement in that game now, and it's it just keeps ping-ponging back and forth. So very interesting look there from our guy. Thank you, Futon Betts. Let's roll on. Nunya's in the house. Glad we got a later card and have time to cap together. Me too. I was looking at that with the NBA. I thought, there's some college basketball kicking off here early, but Villanova, Seton Hall, we've already got some action and some looks from the Futon Betts. We got that Tennessee, South Carolina game. We got action from our guy, Joe T. That'll start us off in college hoops there, but then we've got the NHL and the NBA. So going to be fun. Nunya says, let's find our spots. There's Juggler 23. We be popping. Tonight's action from our guy, Juggler 23. Likes UConn -5. Likes Iowa State -7. Likes Minnesota -5.5, and CS Northridge, the Matadors there, +8 on the island. He's going Bulls in the NBA out there. The pros out there for him with the Bulls. Juggler 23, thank you for sharing. And there's our guy, Justin McKelvey, the Stacks POD. He's rolling. He's got Michigan State tonight, -9. I fully expect Michigan State to beat them boys down. They're going to hand them their butts and then some. Jay Peasy's in the house. You didn't know. Jay Peasy wrote the intro. That's that little earworm you get when we pop this show off here. Best intro in the Pub Sports Radio universe. Tell me I'm wrong. Go ahead. Tell me I'm wrong out there. We'll send JPZ at you to take care of business out there. Nunya says, my best bets might be 2 player props, by the way. The book's afraid to give assist props for Richmond. Let's go to my guy out there. Subhuman Gaucho's in the house. And Gerald Jones says TCU 4. Gerald Jones, TCU 4. And best bet tonight. Let's go. Yapit in the house. I'm sure I didn't say that correctly, my guy, and I apologize. He says, what it do? And there's our guy, Big Scott 510, NCAA baseball in the house. Is that Louisiana? I think that's Louisiana. Can't be the LA Dodgers. That's the pros out there. G-Biz says, you killed it last night. Yeah, a couple good spots, but all in all, it was a losing night for me. So we're going to rebound tonight. But again, collectively, it's a group effort. You guys in the chat killed it. Billy Briz killed it. I just got to take my L's where I earned them. And last night, I definitely earned some of those L's. So let's roll. Subhuman Gotcha says, good call at Nunya. Usually a race at this hour. Big Scott 510 likes La Tech at -1.5. There it is. La Tech at -1.5 in college baseball there. And that McNabb jersey is fire. Yeah, that's, it's funny. It's funny how that one worked its way into my possession. So, my weed guy at the time, who was also doing a lot of other things on the side, had the old, apparently it fell off the truck. So when he was gambling and he was taking book, he owed me, and somehow that worked its way into my hands as part of the payment that he owed me. So let's keep it rolling out there. Earl Sports Bet says Tarasenko is a Panther. Things you love to see with Florida to win the East and the Cup futures in our pocket. Your pocket, I guess, is what he's trying to say out there. Shout out Nick Earl, and love that Tarasenko, man. He's a firecracker and definitely an effective guy. Man, that Florida team just makes great trades. They find a way and they continue to strengthen themselves at the wire. Should be fun to see how they roll out. Of course, I'm on the Hurricanes there. I can't believe you're trading that land of Carolina to go down to Florida, but that's okay. We'll see it. I think the Cup comes out of the East, so let's keep rolling. Nutflush Allen says, what up, boys and girls? And Mixmaster Mike MT totals running hot, says our team total whisperer. I know he gave me a little bit of that San Jose Sharks plus money action late last night. And what an easy casher that was. Nutflush Allen. Shout out to you, my guy. Hope all is well in the world of the Allen family. Wine Time Sports. My brother from another mother says, what's up, Mikey? And let's keep rolling. Pub Sports Radio. Our guy T says, another night of cash and pubbers. Smash the like for our boy Pimp Slap. Let's go hit that like for me. There's Velo Coots in the house. Got me on that one. I was moving too quickly. I was 3 lines down. Jay Smooth 16 in the house, helping everybody keep them clean. Smooth balls play of the day. You got to keep them clean, baby. Richmond -5.5 for our guy, Jay Smooth. Nunya got a 16-ounce 1887 poured up, playing with the dog out on the front porch, enjoying the sunset. Well, that sounds pleasant. That sounds warm. It's cold here right now. We had a nice day yesterday in the 70s, but man, it got down there. We're back in the 40s again today. So G-Biz in the house. There's a nice dono from our guy blessing the action before we even kick off the night. Shout out to G-Biz, baby. You and the gang got me paid. Let's go, G-Biz. We love hearing that, man. Love to trade mess. I love what we're building here collectively as a whole. I get messages back and forth from you guys, and we're talking plays. We're talking angles. You guys are bringing trends to my attention. I love it. I love every part of it. And it's awesome to hear when our guys are getting paid out there as well. So shout out to you, G-Biz. You earned it. And we appreciate you sharing in your spoils with us there with that 1999 dono. My guy, G-Biz in the house. Blessing our action out there. Money says, got leftover fried chicken for dinner. That sounds tasty as well. I hope it's extra crunchy. Hope it's extra crispy out there. Michael Nelson says, let's go. RVD 420 in the house. Says, what's the best look of the night? I go through them all, and I'm playing them. I like them all, so I'll have to give that some thought, RBD 420. I will come back to that question. Liquor Store says, Boston in the preseason was 9-0 last year. They beat my ass today, 7-1. G-Biz says, pimp slap. JPZ says, G-Biz. Boy, we're going after it here tonight. Nunya says, we about to cash. Fletcher Berry in the house. Your boy Fletch. What's good, Mike? Bounce back. I agree, Fletcher Berry. Let's do that indeed. Real Deal Prime says Sabres money line, and is that and somebody slap you? Somebody slap you, Real Deal Prime? Let's go, my guy. None if you can, get Neil Quinn assist prop over. None of you likes that Richmond center to get some action going tonight. Winner Circle says, hey, yo, the Fox over 31.5 points and assists there. So we got a little player prop opening action from college hoops and the NBA. Pig Scott 510 says Sabres and the Ducks in NHL tonight. Viper MB says, what up, fam? Gerald Jones, preseason baseball, only been auto betting Dodgers run line. Just cashed 6 wins, 3 L's so far for our guy there. I started to dabble in some preseason baseball as well. Nice little 2-0 today. Let's keep that rolling. Let's see what happens here. It's preseason, but, it's a little afternoon action. So we're getting ready for that afternoon time of year with some of these afternoon baseball bets. Nanya says, I was thinking of you when the Canucks won, Mike. Hey, appreciate that, Nanya. That was a nice little winner there to close the day off. Markel's in the house. His best bet tonight. First half on the Thunder, -14. -14 in the first half. I can't be right. That's got to be the full game, right, Markel? What are they laying, 26 points? I got to double check that one. Trisha M says, slam the like. Now I need the cash. Let's go, Tatters. Gerald Jones, Dodgers, 10 wins, 3 losses preseason so far. Nunya, UMass. He's got a board spot for us here. UMass Fordham from Nunya likes Matt Cross, 8+ boards out there. And Jay Stone says 1-1 on that Dallas play, plus 0.9 units. Hey, positive is all that matters, man. Positive units, my guy. Moving forward, building the bankroll. Talk Sports with JT has the Villanova money line at -105 and South Carolina plus 5.5 against Tennessee. So that action is starting to mount up early. The 6:30, 7 o'clock window. There's our guy, Snizzle in the house. Hey, let go, my guy. Great to see you, Crystal Craig. Appreciate you guys all rocking with us. Keith says, hit the like button. Guys, please smash that thumbs up for us. Let's get this show on the road. Brian Watson just got in by Stagecoach. And then Nutflush Allen says, what number can you get on the Sabres team total over? ? That's when you're going to want to write down. I'll tell you, I got the 2.5. It was a little juicy, but it was 2.5 for me, Nutflush Allen. Love to see us get on the same page there. My guy, Liquor Store says, Michigan State ain't going at the tournament, pimp. They better winning Big Ten tourney out there. From our guy, Liquor Store, JP's. He's 3-0 in college baseball. Man, shout out to you guys betting that college baseball. That is a tricky craft out there. You truly have to be a guru to get in there and ninja those lines up. Go get them, my guys. Nanya, parlaying these 2 player props, FAU money line and UMass money line for a plus 400. Fletcher Berry says, Jay Stone, that's my buddy. FTB, Dana Delp in the house. Hey, got that bonus bet from the threes. Yeah, that was a fun little thing to open up to today, wasn't it? I think it was like $35 if I'm not mistaken out there. Reason we took it, those teams score a ton of threes, and we got the benefit from that one. So I'll tell you, I used the bonus bet on the player prop parlay I'm going to give out to you guys for the NBA. So for what that's worth. It was a little free spot for me. And we're going to try to capitalize with it. Julian Cesario says, what up, pimp? Too many picks today. Let's cash. Let's cash indeed. Nunya says it's 68 out here in Birmingham. That sounds glorious, my guy. Shout out to you. Dana Duff likes Butler -2. And then LJ from H-Town, baby, says, whoa, yo, Mike, what's good down here at the Rockets, my guy? I hope you enjoy the game. Hopefully you're going to be on the same side as what I share out there because we are opening up tonight. Marcus McCarthy, good to see you, my guy. This is Mike the D-Gen, my guy, a.k.a. the pimp. Kush God in the house. His birthday was Monday. Need a banger, Mike Money. Want a birthday pick as well? All right, my guy. We'll see if we can hook you guys up with what we think is the best play tonight. North Ender says, what's the NHL dog of the night? Mikey McDavid. Let's go. Let's get into this thing here, guys. Appreciate everybody rocking with us here. Kelly D's in the house. She says, teaser, NCAA, TCU money line, and St. Bonnie's -4. I like that look there, Mel. Kelly, that's a shout out. That's a good look there. I like that Bonnie spot there. I was close to pulling the trigger there. Lexicon says, salute, Mike. Thanks for the Oilers Nooks under. Yeah. That was a fun ad. We added that one. So let's get rolling here. We've got tons of action, man. You guys are doing a great job sharing that in the chat. I want to make sure we keep shouting it out. Joe T says also adding the Maple Leaf Sabres over 6.5 and sprinkle over 7.5 and first period over 1.5. And then he says, I'm on Tennessee State money line as well. We're going to talk about that game. We're not going to let the Ohio Valley get rolling without getting in there. Julian Cesario says Butler money line, Arkansas -3, Texas A&M money line, Tennessee first half full game, Tennessee State -3, the Bulls money line, the Clippers first half -3. Damn big card. Yeah, I kind of thought that as well. I kind of thought it was a small card for me to get rolling, and then things just got opened up and fired off. So excited to go into it with you guys here. G-Biz says, you gave me Panthers money line. I took them puck line. Shout out to you guys, man. That's, it's all about listening, right? When you can come away and hear something that maybe I didn't get there in the card, but you heard something a little different and you cashed with it, then that had to be some great plus money. All three of the NHL underdogs won last night, by the way. So we had Edmonton, we had Boston. We had Edmonton, we had Florida, and then that third game was Vancouver tied into a parlay. Sadly, though, the Sixers were the losing leg of the parlay. And Dan Kelly's in the house. He says, hey, Mike, Jared Allen on second of back-to-back. He doesn't like those. Let's roll in this thing. Let's go through it. We've got to recap. We've got to get moving here for the show tonight. Appreciate everybody dropping in. Again, one last time, I'll throw it out there. Smash that thumbs up for us. And let's fire through this recap here. We've got ourselves, it was a decent night in hockey. All in all, 3-1 was definitely the better spots of all. We went, we won that Florida Panthers revenge spot, -120. Edmonton, we got that one at -130. Now, keep in mind, just a little kind of editorial here. When I look at these numbers, I always talk about like the highest number I'm willing to pay. Very rarely will I go like above the -135. But it really comes down to that regulation versus the -1s. And this spot, I'm okay paying a little juice because 2 of those 3 games in the revenge spots last night went to overtime. -1s would have pushed, regulations would have lost. But paying up another 10 or 15 cents was the difference between the win or the push. Now, you tell me, is 10% more of that bet worth the win versus the push or the loss? Hell yeah, it is. Every day of the week. We did cash that Edmonton under 6.5, right? Wasn't that one funny? I started talking about it, and then bang, there it is, and it's on the card. But the Winnipeg spot, unfortunately, didn't get it done. You know what? I mentioned it. I'm sad I didn't play it, though. When I said Seattle, right? Remember this stat. When you guys hear me talk about the teams that come off a spot where they got hit 20 or more times, a.k.a. the physical game, they tend to lose those next games. And Winnipeg was coming off that previous physical game, and then Seattle goes out there and gets the job done. I wish it was better in college hoops. We went 0-2. We lost Harvard -6.5. I have a general philosophy, though, something that makes me feel better about losing bets. Cover or get fucked. And in this case here, Harvard lost outright, so they got fucked. That's fine. You're not going to cover, then lose the damn game for me. Austin P, -3.5, got hooked. The line was 2.5 early in the day, moved to 3s. Showtime, it pops off at 3.5. Look, it was the right side. It was just the wrong play with the hook, so we'll take that out. And then I wish the NBA was better as well. Man, just disappointing here. The Boston over 217 was a loser. We did win on Detroit plus 11.5. We had that intersecting 0 spot. Fucking Siakam, what a scumbag. Over 21.5 points does not hit. Denver -8.5. The late ad does not hit. And then our parlay would have been the game changer. That would have been the lifesaver. I hate to do it. It's got to be transparent. It's uncomfortable. You see me squirm in the chair, but that's how you go 4-7. That parlay, 642. Everybody got the job done except the Sixers. And I was even thinking to myself when I got to tell you what, you got to listen to your inner voice. You got to make sure you're in a clear place and a clear headspace when you do this cap and stuff, because my inner voice told me the Sixers were going to fuck that parlay up. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So no excuses, just straight transparency. And tonight we're looking for results. There's our guy, Old East, is jumping in late. What up, you dirty dogs? Let's get this cash. Let's go indeed. And then Marcus McCarthy says Lay should be banned from the chat. Is that parlays? Are you talking about parlays? Come on, man. Let's go. Parlays are a lot of fun. We can get some cash on these things here. It's all about how you manage the parlays. Never going to profit parlaying. I disagree. And I got a monster one that showed me the way there just a couple of Saturdays ago. So you got to keep in a separate bucket. You know, you want to certainly make sure that depending on how you plan. If you're going for big scores, maybe you only risk it to win a unit as opposed to, betting the full unit on it, right? So if you're $100 better, you can do a 4-leg parlay. Maybe it only costs you $5 to win $100. Now you tell me. There's certainly profit in those opportunities, but yeah, you want to be mindful of them. I like doing them for fun, and I try to use my bonus bets when I get them in there. So that indeed, JPZ says my bankroll disagrees. It's different, and everybody's a little bit different, but yeah. Laying big odds should be banned from the chat. I agree with that. Nobody wants to see your minus 600s, whoever that is. But I don't think we have those kind of gigs out there. So let's get rolling, though. I'd love to hear the separate philosophies around banking and gambling and how we're going to get to cash. I think it's a combination of all things. It's an art and a science, right? You gotta have some of the numbers behind it. You gotta have the analytics to back it up. But then sometimes you got to get the paintbrush out and get creative with how you craft this one up. And that's what we're going to do to open up the NHL tonight. We're lacing up the skates. We're going to tackle this. There's 3 games tonight. And, Marcus McCarthy's not going to like what we've got going on for one of them. But that's because it's a parlay. In the meantime, though, we've got this Buffalo-Toronto spot. No parlay needed here. This is going to be just a straight play. And we've got Luukkonen in goal at 19-16-2. Interesting, though. I was kind of uncertain here, just from the regards that Buffalo was making these trades. The difference is, though, is Casey Middlestat. All right, I'm okay. He's an offensive guy, and he's really not that productive. He's a young guy with certainly some legs to grow, but I was okay with them sending him on out of there. Get him moving, get some fresh blood in there. And then we've got Samsonov on the other side in Toronto. Somehow 15-5-6, but the tail of the tape to me is these save percentages here. Buffalo, a team that's been struggling with defense from time to time. And Luukkonen, 2.46 goals against average and a 91.4% save percentage. Samsonov, 3.23 goal against average, 88.3% save percentage. Now, if you guys have been following along with this show, that 3.23, 88.3 is just a notch above bag of shit, right? We know the 2.46 goals against average and a 91.4% save percentage. That's going to get us between serviceable and outstanding, I guess. He's somewhere in that bucket, which is impressive, again, considering some of the lack of defense and really the scoring challenge. Just 19-16-2 is a pure reflection of Buffalo not getting the back of the net on a consistent basis. We look at this thing overall here. This is a rematch spot from December 21st. Buffalo hurt them boys good. It was a 9-3 finish out there for the Buffalo Sabres to get the victory. Samsonov's coming in off a rest. It was a 4-1 loss to Boston, their last game out. And Samsonov, 3 starts in 5 games. He's rocking a 2-1 record in those 3 starts. 32 saves on 35 shots in his last start, 91.4% save percentage. So his last game was above his season average. However, I think in this case here, the thing about trade deadlines is the mental psyche that it puts out there, the mental state of a lot of these players. And Buffalo, I think there's 2 things you're thinking if you're getting in the trade deadlines approaching, if you're a young guy. First is, please don't cut my ass or send me down to the minors. And second is, all right, I'm still here. I like it here. I got my family's, associating or moving in here. I'm comfortable with the surroundings. I like the city. I don't want to go anywhere. And that gives them a little leg up as well. So, I think in this case here, we do have Buffalo. We'll be playing with maybe a little bit of a spark here with some of this Casey Middlestat movement. What happens is motion creates emotion, right? You get emotion, you get this Middlestat going out. All the lines can get circled in flux, and I think we get everybody stepping up in this spot here. Interesting enough, though, when you look at Buffalo, and I mentioned their scoring challenges here, when they're 5-on-5, so special teams aside, and I take special teams aside because they're a young team. They don't have some of those experts, some of those skilled guys out there running and leading, those power plays and taking those minutes. But at 5-on-5, they rank 13th in the entire NHL in expected goals per 60 minutes. So, you look at the Leafs on the other hand, 20th in goals allowed per game. So you kind of have that top third of the NHL, top, what do you want to call it? 25% or so, top 30% in the NHL. Then on the other side with the Leafs, you got the bottom 30%. So those two kind of mismatches to me think that there's an opportunity here. I don't like what's going on from a defense perspective with Buffalo, but they've been putting the boots to ass on these Toronto Maple Leafs here, and I expect it to continue again tonight. You look back at some of these recent games and performance, that loss against Boston 4-1, they did have, back-to-back wins, so they're on their 5th straight home game, this Toronto Maple Leafs here, and this is where things get a little fuzzy. You get a little too comfortable with the home cooking, your own mattress, and the pillow that's on your bed here, and I think Buffalo is primed to come in here, real deal primed to come in here and snatch a victory from these guys. Yeah, that was a 5-2 loss against the Winnipeg Jets, but they beat Vegas 7-2. They beat Tampa on the road 3-2. They only lost to Florida 3-2, and they beat Carolina 3-2. Look at that gauntlet of teams. Defending Stanley Cup champ, previous multi-Stanley Cup champ, Florida, Nick Earl's saying they are going to be the Stanley Cup champs, and Carolina, I'm saying is the Stanley Cup champ this year. Buffalo's been playing some puck right now, and at plus 160, I'm going to roll in there and get this game started here. We're opening up the NHL card tonight with a nice plus money opportunity. And then we're going to move on to this next game, and it's a parlay of these two games here. So, look, do I think all the favorites are going to win? No. Do I think all the dogs are going to win? No. I already got my dog locked in here. Now I'm going to go with these two favorites. And ultimately, I almost took the draw in that Ottawa game. I talked about the revenge spot. The revenge factor is in play for Ottawa. But you look at these trades that are taking place here. You look on the Anaheim side. They're starting Dostal, 9-16-1. They trade Henrique and Serac. That's a bad spot for the movement here for the Ducks. Now, the difference in the Ducks movement versus the Sabres movement and saying, well, how can you say it both sides of things here? There's discontent in that Anaheim locker room, and it goes all the way up to the top of the chain. There's guys that want to be traded. They're not signing long-term contract extensions. They traded Drysdale earlier this season to the Philadelphia Flyers, and there's more moves coming in Anaheim. So things are not hunky-dory. They're not kosher out there in Anaheim, and I think that's where Ottawa and Forsberg can pluck these guys off here. We heard it earlier today. Jimmy the Bag and C-Mac were talking about kind of that. Get away from home. Get out there on the West Coast. Get some positive momentum going here. They got 4 straight losses. But remember, after they fired their coach, they did go on that little streak here, and I think they can go out there and they can take these Ducks down. The Ducks did just lose 2-1 to Vancouver. They beat New Jersey 4-3. They beat San Jose 6-4, but who the hell are those teams, right? I mean, I would say that the Senators probably rank right in there, but I think this is certainly a capability in a spot, at minus 190. I'm not laying that juice for Ottawa, but give me the full game. Ottawa to come out as the victorious team. And the second leg of the parlay I'm rolling with is going to be the Colorado Avalanche here. Cash is coming down. This Red Wing spot moved from plus 180 to plus 170. Detroit, though, did beat Colorado the last time out. Leon was in goal. He saved 30 of 31 shots. Interesting spot here, but I just think Colorado, with the movement, with the changes, with the new guys coming into town, let's go look at the psyche of what this does when you make a trade. They've got, 3 new players coming into town in the next day for the Colorado Avalanche. Guess what happens if you're one of those existing guys? I better step my shit up because I'm going to end up in the minors or worse, getting traded off to a team like Columbus. That's true. That's really what happens in these guys, mindsets out there. And I think that gives them a little spark here, a little boost. They weren't trading away key players. They're trading away draft picks and shit like that. So at the end of the day, it's not a tangible asset. It's something that's kind of that future what if type of scenarios out there. The core's in place. The nucleus is rolling. You got guys that want to have a spark in their ass so that they don't end up in the minors. And you got that home ice advantage here with altitude in Denver. I'm going to parlay this Colorado and the Ottawa spot together. It's a plus 130. I'm not messing around with regulations. I'm not messing around with the 1.5. Although Jason Work, I see, says Colorado big minus 1.5. If I was going to do it, this would be the spot. You're catching a nice plus one. What's the number here? Plus 120s, plus 124s, plus 130s now as well. But I'm not going to mess around with the extra one there. one of these two games I feel like is going to overtime, and that's going to crush any -1.5. So that's going to do it for us in the NHL. 3 games, 2 plays, plus money on both of them. Look, here's that glorious opportunity. We can turn, 2 units into 3, or we can still win money if we catch one of these 2. So that's about being mindful and managing the bankroll as we move forward. We're not just taking stabs. These are some calculated risks that we take. It's all a risk, but I think there's some good data behind why these plays make the most sense. And onward we go to college hoops here. You guys already heard about our boys. They got this over. Joe T likes the over. Seton Hall first half. We've got that play out there. We've got Tennessee's. Joe T was on the Tennessee, South Carolina over for a couple of plays out of the chat here to get things rolling. Smash that thumbs up as we move on our way into college hoops here. Nice little card tonight. I was kind of drilling up and down this thing, and I kind of found it difficult to really hone in on just a couple of spots that I like the most here. But I do want to give you guys what I think are these best bets here. Nanya says a lot of low-key assist props out there too, guys. Yeah, I saw a bunch of those, and look, not mad at it. And how about, by the way, we did talk about this last night as well. No way is Arizona a -290. Chicago got that win. They deserved it. No way Arizona should be at -290. I wish I had played that one as well. So anyhow, onward and upward. Let's roll on here into college hoops. We're going to open this card up. And we're going to open it up with a little Ohio Valley spot there. I saw it in the chat already. And we are going to jump in and embrace this one. You guys will see on the right-hand side, the 2 games we're going to cover, we're going to talk about here tonight. Do my best to bring you guys some different looks. We'll talk about the cash flow splits. And I'll tell you, this one right off the gate got a little bit of a concern because the number's not moving in the direction I want. We have 86% of the bets, 94% of the cash on Tennessee State. The line's, for all intent and purposes, frozen. We've got -3s out there at -110s. We open at 3.5. There's still some 3.5s, albeit they're losing juice. So we're starting to see this movement to the 3, which I think is the right number. You look at this money line, it's gone from -164 to -165. Small movement, but 94% of the bets. The total opens at 144.5. It's dropped a point to 143.5. And we've got 83% of the bets, 91% of the cash on this total, this under, and it has moved. Now, the thing about these teams here in the Ohio Valley, if you don't spend a lot of time watching the Ohio Valley, it's very interesting because Southern Indiana, absolutely the bottom of the conference. They're just transitioning in. So they don't have any real eligibility or likelihood to get things done. Even if they were to somehow win this Ohio Valley Conference. And look, you watch the way they play, that's not happening. 77-60 loss as a favorite to Southeast Missouri. Got torched in that one. They play Lindenwood. They lose 67-63 as a 10.5-point favorite. I don't even know who was making these teams favorites in those spots, but they got torched on that one and lost outright. They're 6.5-point dog. They did cover in an 82-76 game against Western Illinois. Western Illinois is that bad. Then you look at Moorhead, 80-73 win as a 15-point dog. That is where I'm going to say their season peaked out and kind of hit the shelf here. On the other side of things here, we've got Tennessee State coming off of back-to-back losses. They lost to Arkansas Little Rock, 85-60, not their finest hour. Then they lose to Tennessee Martin, 96-87. Now, you look at it and say, well, what's going on and how can you take advantage and what are you thinking with this team here? But I just look at the players and the capabilities here. Tennessee State's been in the conference. They're ready to roll. They got 6 guys averaging 9.3 points or more per game. That's a big factor out there when you've got a team that's still trying to recruit, still trying to get their footing behind them in a D1 spot. And let's not forget this big son of a bitch that they've got out there in Tennessee State. 6'11", 300-pound Florida transfer, Jason Jatobo. And this guy should be able to go out there and be the physical specimen that he is. He's going to go. He scores 10-plus points in both times they played this team prior to. They do not know how to handle this big man. And I think you got a bottom-tier team still transitioning and doesn't know how to handle this thing versus a team that's got a plethora of multi-point, double-digit scoring guys and a straight-up tree at 6'11", 300 pounds who's played in Florida, made his move here, probably got some nice NIL dollars for it, and I expect him to be the difference maker. The X factor tonight, I like this -3. Now, it is a rematch spot, right? We know that Southern Indiana did beat this Tennessee State team back on their home court the last time they played, but I looked up the rematch opportunities here. Southern Indiana, there's a couple of teams that just are 500 in rematches. Southern Indiana is one of them. I say in all fairness, there's a posse of these teams. There's about 5 of them put together, and they rank out to 17 and 15 in rematch spots. So not a huge edge. I know that doesn't say one side or the other for Tennessee State, but the fact that it's a rematch spot for Southern Indiana, who doesn't have the guns, who doesn't have the size, and who doesn't have the experience in D1 ball. This is tournament play, baby. This is Ohio Valley. Give me Tennessee State. Give me the -3. I think they get this job done here. Probably a 5-6 point win. It's going to be sweaty. They're probably going to be down, and we're probably going to see some live bet opportunities, but I expect Tennessee State 17 and 14 to pull up and beat up on this 8 and 23 team. They are in revenge spot, but all bets are out the window because it is tournament play, and I think they're going to be ready to fire. So give me this opening up here. Again, Southern Indiana, 8 and 23, 5 and 13 in the conference. Not going to be good enough to get the job done here. On the very same side, Tennessee State, they are 10 and 8 in the conference. So, just over 500, but I think that's where you can see the separation here. Better team versus not in the conference. And that's how we're going to get the college basketball card open, 7:30 p.m. Got one more in college hoops here. It's a big game, 7 p.m. The number 1 team in the nation, Houston, is going on the road for a UCF battle. And here we go with some interesting line spots. 8.5 is where the number opened up. 47% of the bets on UCF, but 74% of the cash on this UCF side of things here. The Florida spot seems to be the play for me here. This total reverse line movement, 129.5 up to 133s. 77% of the bets and 68% of the cash. You guys know I love to correlate these totals, the overs to the dogs here. And I love this dog spot here. This is a tailor-made dog spot for this UCF team. Look, 26 and 3. No question. Houston's just been battling. They're kicking ass and they're taking names. 26 and 3 is good enough for top of the conference. They still have Iowa State nipping at their heels at 23 and 6. Then there's Baylor. Then there's Kansas. So to earn the top of the heap in this thing is definitely remarkable. But in the middle of this conference here, not even really in the middle, but UCF at 15 and 13 somehow has only pulled up a 6 and 10 conference record. I have a feeling that's because of the gap here, the haves versus the have-nots in this conference. And bottom line, real simple spots here. There's 2 of them. When you're on the second leg of a back-to-back ranked team situation. So you're a team that played a ranked team. Now you're playing another ranked team. Back-to-back ranked spots there. If you're the home dog and in revenge, you're 26 and 16. So going out there against ranked teams, the home dog, trying to extract their revenge, 26 and 16 against the spread. Interesting note, the margin out there is 6 points. So in an 8.5 point game, we almost have UCF being a live dog. Now, I don't think they're going to come out here and win this game, but worth noting that it should be a tighter spot than not. And when you look at the number 1 team, what does the number 1 team do in college basketball when they're playing an unranked conference team as an away favorite? Well, they're only 14 and 20 in those spots. That goes back to 2012. That's all of college basketball. The number 1 ranked team going out there against an unranked team as the away favorite in the conference, 14 and 20. I'm jumping in on this UCF team here. Give me the 8.5. It's interesting. I was going back and forth with Jimmy the Bag here this afternoon, just deciding was the first half going to be the spot or not. We were hoping this number was going to move to 9, which would have moved our first half to 5. If it was 5, I would have jumped on it. So anybody that's looking for some extra thoughts or some extra edge here, that margin in both those spots is 3 points for the first half. So, 5 would have been a full bucket. I would have been comfortable taking that first half as well. It would have been a double dip. The fact that it's still sitting at 4.5, when we're seeing 3s means there's a margin of less than a bucket. It's not enough for me to feel comfortable jumping in on that spot of things here. Do I think that they can stay competitive in the first half? Yeah, you bet your ass, because I think they're going to come out there and cover that 8.5, and I think they're only going to lose this one by maybe 2 or 3 points. So I like that UCF spot. Julian Cesario says, good number to middle, UCF plus 8.5, solo, and Houston moneyline 2 teamer out there. Oh, he says, I'm on UCF moneyline, my guy. I'll be rooting for you. I certainly will. Nutflush Allen says, in these dog spots, I lean the first half at home more often than the talent may outweigh full game after the crowd is taken out. I do agree with that. I thought about that spot there with the first half. I'm going to open up in basketball in the NBA. So I wanted to keep it tight, clean. The second half numbers, by the way, in those margins that I was talking to you guys about, they're 69 to 69. So, 69 points on both of those spots is what I meant to say. We're seeing like 35, 34, one side, the other trend's got it 35-34 the other way. So the second half should be tight. It's going to come down to what goes on in this first half here. So I guess by that theory, the first half does make sense, but not for me. We're going to rock and roll with this one here. Res Mob says catching a falling knife, pimping. I don't know about that. I'm not even sure I understand entirely what that means, other than what is that? Is sharp number, Res Mob? I guess that's what that means, right? It's a sharp number, and I'm trying to get my hands on it. You don't want to see my fingers, man. They're all butchered up from catching falling knives, banging them on hockey skates. I almost took my thumb off twice. I'm not afraid to catch that sharp ass knife, and I got all the scars to prove it. So let's roll on. Let's move into the NBA because it is a big NBA card tonight, and it didn't start out that way. Full disclosure, it did not start out that way. But as we put on the high tops, we take it to the pro levels here. We got Cleveland. We've got Atlanta. First game on the card. It is 7:30 Eastern. The Cavaliers going on the road to hot Atlanta, and we've got 66% of the bets, 79% of the cash on Atlanta. This line moved from +1 to -2.5. The total's dropping like a stone, or maybe one of those falling knives. 222.5 down to 216. 72% of the bets, 78% of the cash on the under. Line showing some concern. Again, a spot where I love to correlate the favorite to the unders in this spot. This line has moved enough. And we got a couple of trends to correlate this thing for you guys here. We'll jump in momentarily. But the thing about this Cleveland spot, second leg of the back-to-back, just had Boston last night, now going off on the road. This is their third game in 4 nights. So they definitely have a little bit of concern, I think, from that regard in terms of the wear and tear of the travel. The Hawks just came off that big road win against the Knicks, 116-100. This is their second leg of the back-to-back. So we kind of got to start looking for, potential rest factors. And what do we have for some rest trends out there? Well, home teams facing a team off a home game are 29-4-1. If the line's between plus and -7 and both teams have no rest. So there you go. The home team has the favor. I think you would expect that. The home team, the home cooking, the comforts of their own domicile to try to get things done. Teams facing an unrested opponent whose last game was decided by 3 points are 32-10 this season out there. If you look at this Cavaliers game, it was a 1-pointer. Big comeback for the outright win, which, by the way, I think has an emotional displacement going on for this team here. They had to pour it all on the line to try to beat that Celtics team. And now you got to pack up shop and you got to go on the road. And then last but not least, the Cavs are 0-12 against the spread. Conference dog of less than 5 points when the total is less than 239. Short number, favorite, dog to favorite situation. We're opening up the card with the Atlanta Hawks. And I had 2s, but now we've got 2.5s. Let's just take a peek here. I'm good with the 2.5. I'm going to take the 2.5. It's -110. That will be the first official NBA play of the card. And we will keep it moving on. Let's get rolling. I'm curious to see what you guys think about the NBA tonight. Nut Flush Allen says, just a heads up, I did end up moving on the Grizzlies team total over 103.5. Well, I'm going to write that down because the team total whisperer has spoken. And when he speaks, you take that pen and paper out that I talked to you guys about there. Shout out to our guy, Nut Flush Allen, capping the card, giving you guys his favorite looks out there. And interesting, I don't have a spot on that game, but the Grizzlies open up as +5, down to 4.5. 82% of the bets, 97% of the cash on the Sixers. The line has dropped as well, 214.5 down to 209.5 with 65% of the bets and 86% of the cash. I'm not mad at that spot at all, Nut Flush. I think you look at this the Sixers. I think the Grizzlies money line's in play for these guys here. What they did last night was just outright disrespectful, ruining my 4-leg parlay. Would have been a nice little +600 spot out there. They still have some questions with the injury. I haven't seen any updates on Maxey. Obviously, we know what Embiid's doing. Lowry is out tonight as well, so that should make it an opportunity for some offensive pressure from Memphis. So write it down, boys and girls. The team total whisperer has spoken. Let's roll on to the next game. What is the next game? I get all excited about this NBA, and I got to see where we're at. Okay, we're going to go a little out of sequence here. And fuck it. You know what? We're going to do this anyways. Clippers Rockets. I told you guys I was looking for some ads on the card tonight. I'm adding this Clipper spot, and I'm double dipping this Clipper spot. We got the Clippers open up at 6, now 6.5. We got 67% of the bets, 91% of the cash. There's no graphic for this one. This is the old boomerang spot here for my boy T out there. I'm just popping this one on them. So 224.5s have dropped to 222.5s with 66% of the bets and 66% of the cash. We have correlated cash flow and total dippage. We've got correlated cash flow and side movement here for the Clippers as well. That's going to check a couple of boxes for us, the under and the favorites. I've said it 3 times on this stream already. And, I started analyzing this Rockets team. Look at this Rockets. First of all, second leg of the back-to-back. They played the Spurs last night. We had them in the parlay. They got their piece done, 114-101 against the Spurs. That was a revenge spot there for them against the Spurs. They played the Suns twice. They split the series. They won the first one, lost the first one, 110-105. They played the Suns the second one, 118-109. They got the job done. They played OKC twice, 112-95, 123-110, both losses. They got 3 opponents in their last 5 games, and they played the same team twice out there. Guess what, boys and girls? The LA Clippers are rolling to town, and it's going to be a little James Harden revenge opportunity as well. I think this Clippers team, you look at this loss against Milwaukee, pre-All-Star break, they were finding their groove. They were a team to be reckoned with. They were out there kicking ass and taking names. They kind of fell back on their laurels a little bit. They kind of missed their mark a little. Sacramento Kings lost 123-107. The Lakers was a tough game, 116-112, down as a 1.5-point favorite. They beat up on Washington, 140-115. Then they beat up Minnesota, 89-88, low-scoring game, but as a dog, they came out with the win. They took the L to Milwaukee. I think they're ready to rebound. I think they're going to kick the shit out of the Rockets here. The Clippers are 12-1. They're covering the spread by 10 points off a loss as a favorite if they have less than 2 days rest. There's that bounce back trend. Break that one down. They're 12-1. They're smoking the number when they're coming off a loss as a favorite if they have less than 2 days of rest. And the Rockets have an offer. They're 0-7 against the spread when they're playing against an opponent off a loss as a road favorite. When they're playing a team in the bounce back spot, they're 0-7, and they're losing those games by almost 11 points against the spread. This should be a comfortable Clipper spot. In fact, this was the double dip here. I've got the Clippers minus 6.5. Let's make sure that number still exists. It does. And I jumped in on the first half as well. It's minus 3.5 now. We see 4s and 4.5s as well. The 3.5's minus 115. I think it's gate the wire with this thing here. The Clippers are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 first half games as well here. I think they start them up early, and I think they keep them rolling. It's a double dip spot for me with the Clip Show. And my apologies to our guy out there, LJ. I hope you get on the Clippers, my guy, and maybe sprinkle a little assist action with James Harden. It's the revenge spot. I think they're going to bounce back here, and they're going to put boots to ass on this Houston Rockets team in their own building. Nobody's got more comfort and familiarity in that building than James Harden. I think we see it happen tonight for these Clippers. And let's move onward. We've got another game in the NBA. I mentioned I was opening this card up tonight. Little double dipper action here. Let's go on to this 10 p.m. spot. 10 p.m. window. We've got ourselves a little bit of action between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Golden State Warriors. Man, does anybody need a comeback, bounce back, whatever you want to call it? They had the come to Jesus meeting out there against the Boston Celtics. And now it's time to go back home and figure it out because they got trounced in that game over 50 points. Shout out to our guy, Nasty Nate. I'm sure he was loving life. And I bet you he was so giddy you couldn't stand to be around him in that game. And he deserves it. They kicked the shit out of them boys. But we've got a line that opened at -2. 3s, 4s, and 4.5s now. 79% of the bets and 94% of the cash on the belief the Warriors are going to get the job done. The total's dropping as well. 230.5 down to 226.5. Interesting spot, though. The public's hammering this over here. 71% of the bets. Only 59% of the cash. I'm sorry, only 41% of the cash on the over, though. So for anybody that's joining us new here, I try to explain this every so often. We look at these buckets for the cash flow because there's a couple of components to them. The percentage of bets, all the tickets combined, props, parlays, teasers, money line bets, it all kind of rolls into the soup that makes up everything that is that game. It's the money, though, that really shows where some of the bigger bettors are coming in. Think of the money as they go to the window at the casino and they got $10K in a duffel bag. And they got to get the manager to come in and approve that $10K investment because the limits on the game might be $5K. Those are the types of concerns that we want to see. And then how does Vegas react? I know it's not Vegas, but fuck it. I'm old school in that regard. How are the lines makers, how are the bookmakers reacting to that big cash? And if they're moving it in your direction, typically you can see the buy on. If they're moving it against you, red flag. In this case here, we've got 94% of the cash coming in, but the total's interesting because the money's pouring in. All the bets left the over, but the bigger cash is on the under. The concern from the bookmakers was the bigger cash coming in on the under. Tie it back again. I'll say it again. It checks a box with the favorite and the under for us. Love this Golden State spot. The Bucks are 0-8 against the spread when they're coming off a 7-point or greater win as a dog. In fact, that was the case for these boys their last game out. They went out there and they downed that Clippers team we just talked about. It was 7 points on the dot. But those numbers are important because it opens up that 0-8 trend. They're 0-12 against the spread, and they're losing the spread by 8 points on margin when they're off a win as a dog, if they're a small dog the next game as well. So there you go. And that kind of, what do they do after coming off that dog victory when they're marked as a small dog? They lose, and they lose by 8 points against the spread. So should be a double-digit opportunity. Last but not least, the Warriors, 19-2 against the spread at home versus a team off a win as a dog or a small favorite. So all the moon, the stars, and the planets are intersecting each other with this Bucks coming off that upset victory against the Clippers. The Warriors, here's the thing about this game. Steph Curry couldn't have shot any worse. 0 for 9 his last game from the three-point line. His number's pegged at 5.5, so they're expecting him to come back and bounce back in this spot here. They're one of the most effective three-point shooting teams in the association. And I don't think it's going to be a challenge for him to come back and get this job done tonight. I love the spot for these boys here. I think it's a great Golden State get-right spot. Think about a 55-point blowout. You got rested legs. These boys weren't out there in the second half of this game, and if they were, they certainly weren't out there the entirety of it. In fact, most of the fourth quarter, they didn't see any minutes on the hardwood here. Despite it being a bad beatdown out there, the fact they didn't close the gap, I think, was more of a function of the bench and the depth than it was the starters out there. Curry had a bad game. I don't think it happens back at home on his home court. He knows the stakes are high. He knows the Bucks are coming to town. It's a great opportunity to fade the Bucks and jump in on the underperforming Golden State Warriors. Let's roll on to this next game as well. I just start sometimes I say things out loud and I make myself laugh. And so anyhow, let's keep rolling on to this next game. I told you we're going after it tonight, and after it indeed. We've got the Sacramento Kings. We've got the LA Lakers going on here. 42% of the bets, 85% of the cash on the Sacramento Kings. The number moved from 2s all the way up to 3.5s now. So we're getting a 3.5, and this is where the cash has started coming in on the Sacramento Kings. They're kind of expecting this to be the ceiling, or essentially the opportunity where this number probably by 10:30 moves back to 3s. We're going to jump in at this 3.5. The Lakers, interesting spot for these boys out there. Big upset win against the OKC Thunder. I know we all took that L. Well, not all of us, I'm sure, but quite a few of us took that L. That was the L I tweeted out there as well, so I feel like a real dick about it. But anyhow, the Lakers are 0-17 when they're in the favorite role with a total under 244 and less than 3 days rest off that upset win. Upset win situation, tight turnaround spot, in the favorite, 0-17 against the spread in those opportunities. And the Kings, here's the intersecting 0 point. The Kings are 12-0 against the spread when they have rest and not a 9-point or greater dog off a loss. So here we go in this opportunity for the Sacramento Kings to come in here, take advantage, probably win the game outright, but 3.5 at -110s. Looks like 3s now at -112s and now 2.5. So here's this number moving back down. Moving on down the line here with the Sacramento spot. We'll take the 3. We'll take the 3. We'll take it at -112. That's fine. Again, I expect these boys to find a way to get the job done out there. I wish we still had the hook in our pocket, but shit happens, and that's the deal with last call. So maybe that should be our last call slogan, Pete. Shit happens, and that's last call. I don't know. Maybe I got to work on that a little bit and see if we can class that conversation up a little. Anyhow, let's roll on here. We've still got more action to rock with you guys here. I'm going to jump in for this player prop that I told you about. This is where I use my $35 bonus bet. Not the biggest bet in the world for it, but it's a bonus bet. The thing about bonus bets, if you're new to this thing, you don't get that $35 back. They take that $35. So if you're going to go out there and say, I'm just going to take a -200 and get my money, it doesn't work like that. You're going to end up getting $17 in your bankroll from that $35 bet. But in this spot here, we could turn this thing into almost a full 100 when we add this James Harden over 7.5 assists to Draymond Green over 7.5 rebounds. That makes it a plus 225 spot. Look, it's going to come out to just about $100 out there for this opportunity. And, not the biggest of plays out there. I was going to add to it, but I thought, you know what, let me just get this C note, and they can take that $35 back if that's what they've got to do for it. You look at the numbers, James Harden, the rebound spot out there, this thing is juiced. Over 7.5 was up to minus 150s and minus 160. So they don't want you to take that bet. They haven't moved it to 8.5 because he's probably going to end up right at that 8 mark. He's got 8 or more assists in 6 straight games and all but one since the All-Star break. So he's got 8 in 4 of those 6 games. Houston does what they do on defense. They do allow 4th fewest assists per game in the NBA. But it's the second leg of the back-to-back out there. I think James Harden can go out there and hoop. I expect him to handle these boys from start to finish. And I think it's going to be because James Harden, who is one of the best assist guys on that Clippers team, to go out there and get the job done. He's played 34 or more minutes in 5 of his last 6 games. So I don't expect us to see any kind of fatigue in the situation either. Russell Westbrook's hand is a factor, and he's been stepping up and filling the role. So leg 1 of this parlay is going to be the Harden over 7.5 assists. Draymond Green on the other side of things, jumping into the center role, trying to figure things out as this Golden State Warriors team gets ready to make a playoff push. And, 4 of 6 starts, he's got more rebounds than points. So here's a guy that does understand the role that he's got to play out there. It's team first. It's we and not me. He is a paint presence out there. He's a prowess in the paint. And I think he goes out there to get this job done as well. You look back at it now, the Bucks got quite a bit of things happening for them now. They've got 6 wins in a row, I believe, out there, which we were talking about previously with the news of Doc Rivers. They were struggling. They're starting to figure things back out. But I think that it comes down here with the Warriors coming off that beatdown. They got to rally and turn this thing around here. And I think they will. I think this is that great spot for them. The Celtics, Giannis being questionable. I expect him to play, but even if he does play, Milwaukee allows 51.8 rebounds a game. Green should have no problem on the defensive side of things. He's going to be squared up against Brook Lopez, and I think that'll be just fine for him to go out there and get the job done. He's averaging, Milwaukee's center is averaging less than 4 a game in the last 6, which means there's plenty of opportunities for Draymond Green to get this number on the defensive side of the ball. Let's roll on. We've got one last game for everybody tonight. And I'm going to jump in on a total here. We're going to look at this total in this Bulls and Jazz game. We've got this line open. It's 9 p.m. Eastern. I know I'm a little over the map, but it's because I added some of these late games money that I've got my money on these spots here. I want to share them with you guys as well. Here's the thing. This Bulls game opens at 3.5. It's flip-flop. Now from plus 3.5 to minus 3.5, 78% of the bet, 77% of the cash on the Bulls. That clearly tells me some injury factors, some lineup rotation news. This total dropped from 230.5 all the way down to 223. We have 68% of the bets and 61% of the cash on this total. And yet we've got this thing dropping. So let's take a deeper dive. We see Lauri Markkanen should be out of this game. Walker Kessler, that's an old one. Keontae George, there it is. Keontae George illness out of the lineup out there. And we know what's going on with the Bulls side of things. Zach LaVine nursing that ankle, Lonzo Ball nursing that knee, Patrick Williams nursing that foot. But we've got Dalen Terry. He's questionable. Personal issues going on out there. And then, of course, Torrey Craig, doubtful with the knee. So this number's dropped. It makes sense. I can validate that and justify it. But the thing is, these backups are still professionals. This number's dropped, in my opinion, way too many points. The Jazz are 15-0 to the over, when they're going against an Eastern Conference opponent that scored 120 or more points against them the previous time they played. And the Bulls are 9-0 to the over when they're playing a Western Conference team that they scored 110 points or more on the previous game. So couple those two together, match them up. We've got these intersecting zeros. This number's dropped almost 7.5, almost 8 points from the original number on this thing here. 223 to me just feels like we're catching some of these numbers at the right time. That's the purpose of last call here, catching these numbers where we can certainly try to exploit the books. And this one, just in my opinion, is an overreaction here. Now, I get it. There's a lot of guys out of the lineup, so it's hard to say overreaction, but it kind of works on both sides of this thing here. And I think we see enough points in Utah. We know the elevation, things tend to run a little faster. These guys get moving up and down the court. I still expect pace of play to get things rolling out there, and we get that cash. So that is going to do it. That's the plays on the books tonight. It's 7 o'clock on the dot. I appreciate everybody rocking in. Let's see what we have going on here. We'll take one last spin around the chat. Recognize what you guys have out there. Brian Watson says, got Orlando -5.5 just now. Subhuman Gaucho says, take Mike's parlay and add Golden State money line. You get +400. Using my DK boost to +600. That's how you do it, Subhuman Gaucho. I'm happy to hear that, my guy. I ended up having to put the difference in there to make it a full unit. But that's okay. All good stuff, man. I hope you cash. I'll be rooting for you. I mean, you're adding the plays that I'm involved with, so why wouldn't I get involved with that? Let's go. Brian Watts says, anyone like first period over in the Leafs game? Thanks. Yeah, I do believe we saw that out there. Pick'em MMA. There's a guy I haven't seen in the chat before. Likes to harden over 17.5 points for Pick'em MMA. Brian Watson, Magic 8.5. Now, Trisha M. I think more shit happens when you party naked and add that to the motto. I like that. I like that, Trisha M. Thank you. Thank you for your contributions. Pick'em MMA says Reeves points set at 14.5 now. Not sure if I want to hit. Maybe Reeves 18 points and assist. That's what I love about this thing, man. We're all looking at these games. We're all scrubbing, trying to come up with the angles. And, there's just not enough time in the day to look at everything. So when we can all work together as one to kick ass and take names, it makes this so much fun. I appreciate all you guys putting the effort in. Patrick Burns, Philly Eagle Flyer. The Futon bet says Magic first half -3.5 and the under 115.5 +255. Let's keep rolling. There's bacon in the house, man. Gotta have some bacon. Get out of here. Pick 'em. Go Cap. MMA. LMAO. 10K out there. I love to see the boys giving each other a little bit of a hard time. It's all in fun. I know it there. Let's go. Old East says Brian Watson looks sharp, but Magic back-to-back on the road playing with a hot pan right now. Nutflesh says this smells like a Clippers team total spot. Well, I'm going to have to write that one down as well. Nutflesh, we appreciate everybody out there. Pick'em MMA, Old E, the Futon Bets, likes Harden double-double. There's a spot that I'll have to click back in on as well. Nutflesh, Allen, appreciate all you guys dropping in here. None yet. Nasty Nate likes the Kawhi double-double. And that's how we do it there. LJ from H-Town says road favorites off the loss with rest versus a home dog off a win with no rest. Clippers -6. All right, my guy, LJ. Excited to see you have that fun out there in that game. And I'll be looking for you. Try to get courtside. Maybe carry one of them big signs that says you're riding on slabs so we can kind of find you in the crowd, my guy. Hope you have a great time. Bo Jackson likes the Sixers, Warriors, and the Lakers. That's going to do it for the show tonight, you guys. Appreciate everybody rocking out there. Appreciate you coming in. Hit that thumbs up on your way out the door. If you're new here, this is what we do here. Go out there and subscribe to Pub Sports Radio on YouTube. We want to see you guys watching us there via YouTube. Love you watching on X. Help us out with the YouTube channel there. Smash the subscribe button and turn notifications on every time we go live. You will be in the know. We've got tons of live content going on. Live streaming games here. We're going to be live streaming tonight. Billy Briz and I will kick the show off. Abby Cab will join us and a whole slew of guests here and all about the hoops. Going to start, I think it's going to start in about 40 minutes here. We're going to push it back just a little to 7:45, and I'll see you guys over there shortly. Appreciate everybody rocking with us tonight. Good luck with your bets. I'll see you back tomorrow, and stay pumping, baby. Let's go. Last call.